morning or good afternoon, depending on where you guys are at. But welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Debate with Sam and Tate, brought to you by Fantasy Focus and the Original Hooters. I'm Sam Holt, joined as always by my wonderful co-host, Derek Tate. Derek, how are you?
I am doing okay.
Goodness.
I'm trying to ease my way into this. Before I want to commit to saying that I'm doing fantastic, doing well, doing awesome. You know, I just feel like my feelings about my fantasy team are a roller coaster this year. 1 week I feel great, awesome, and then the very next week, you know, Clyde Edwards-Helaire's value now has serious question marks around it for the rest of the year. So.
And we will get to all of those questions today. We're going to be covering a lot of kind of price check, value checks on a lot of these players that are in or out for just this week or for the entire season. So guys, please jump into the chat with any questions you have. What up, Mark? Thanks for joining us. And Dried Ocean, glad to have you. Thank you guys for tuning in. If we don't get to your question today, it's a start-sit question. Please tune in tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific time. The entire crew will be together to answer all your start-sit questions. That show is entirely questions. So if it doesn't get answered here, it will get answered tomorrow, guys. But let's just kick it off right away with obviously the kind of biggest news of the week, which was Lev Bell signing with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, he won't be playing this weekend as he has to go through all the new COVID protocols. They have to do 5 days of testing, and then the sixth day comes in for one of those rapid tests, and then he can officially get in. So we will see him week 7. Excuse me.
Losing count, you know, one in.
I'm
all kind of blending together with everybody
coffee.
having to like cancel their games and move it to Monday and all kinds of Tuesday and crazy shit. Yeah, I got you.
I know, but third cup of coffee, we'll get to it. But your initial reaction when you saw him sign there, I mean, we all kind of had our question marks. Where do we think he's going to go? What was your first thought when you heard it's the Chiefs?
First off, it makes sense because we've seen Clyde Edwards-Helaire very ineffective in short yardage situations. It's not that he doesn't run hard. It's not that he isn't capable of being a physical player. It's that his smaller stature and how he's built, he is not capable of just pushing the offensive line forward for a yard and putting his shoulder down. That's not his game. Lev Bell isn't exactly a hammer in his own right, but Bell is built more so like a, no pun intended, bell cow back, and you can hand it to him. You know, you're very familiar with Lev Bell and how effective he is as just a pure ball carrier. And you're telling me that so now I look at it moving forward, how does it affect the two running backs, right? My opinion is that it drops Clyde Edwards-Helaire just a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying that he's still going to be the back that gets the most touches out of this backfield on a weekly basis, in my opinion. I don't see them just giving up because they brought in Lev Bell. That's not why they did this. He's going to be a nice complement to what Clyde Edwards-Helaire does. I still expect around 15 total touches every week, but Lev Bell, he's going to be the guy in standard formats that I think is going to get the nod inside the 5-yard line. And if you watched Lev Bell back earlier this week, I still think he has plenty of burst. I still think that he looks like he could be a very good top 10 back given the right situation. Some people were saying, oh, well, you know, that tells you how much exactly Bell has left in the tank because no one was willing to trade for him. And, you know, he's been on the market for more than 24 hours. No, it's similar to Cam Newton. He was just kind of weighing his options. Bell can still play, and you're going to find that out, you know, in the coming weeks.
I feel like and with the way I look at this, I feel like this is a great football move versus a fantasy move for the Chiefs. I think it adds depth to them. I think he does provide a skill set. However, for fantasy value, I do not see him being a top 20. I don't really even see him being top 30 option for you by the end of the season. I think that when you're looking at targets, and yes, he is and has been in the past because it hasn't been amazing in recent time. He's been a great receiving running back. However, there's so many targets that go around for the Chiefs, and Travis Kelce's still the number 1 target receiver there. So he's not taking Travis Kelce's job. He's not taking Tyreek Hill's job. And the way that they still use Watkins even in their offense, I feel like kind of caps what potential he has. Yes, Mahomes can continue to throw it, and he has an amazing, range, and he's an incredible athlete and all these things. However, you can't pass the ball to everyone at every single play. And I feel like there is going to be a cap and a very immediate floor with Bell. So could you use him as a flex fill-in? Maybe if you're in a bad situation, sure, but I'm not slotting him in as my second running back anywhere right now.
Okay, and that's totally fair. I mean, even in week 7, I do not want to use him as my running back too. Do I think he's worth more of a dart throw in standard formats as kind of a flex option or running back 3? I do. I actually feel confident he's going to be a top 30 option because of just how potent this Kansas City Chiefs offense is and what he can do inside the 5. I think that alone, scoring opportunities with arguably the most explosive offense in the National Football League, and probably is, Bell is going to, even though the total touches volume isn't going to be there, his efficiency is going to jump exponentially in this offense. You're talking about one of the most patient runners in the entire National Football League, probably the most patient runner, running into 6 or 7 man fronts regularly. Like, he's going to be very efficient, in my opinion. It just, we'll see if Andy Reid, how much he wants to rotate him in. I mean, that's the unknown factor. And certainly I think that Bell is going to make a bigger impact week 9 and beyond rather than week 7, week 8. We're going to see him more acclimated and inserted into this offense. And if he begins to become very efficient and very effective, then we could see a 50-50 split between him and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which is what makes me kind of curious about like what your trade evaluation is. Are you looking to sell Edwards-Helaire right now, or are you holding him and just saying, look, he's still going to be he's still going to be the back that touches the ball the most out of this backfield, so I don't want to part ways with that?
I think he's still going to be the back that's going to touch the ball the most. I think when it comes to just the ground game, he's going to be the bell cow there. I don't see Bell taking that from him. I just don't. So for me, if I'm a Clyde Edwards-Helaire owner, obviously depending on the rest of my running backs, I'm probably still holding on tight to him. And I think if anything, just tempering expectations and pushing him down to the running back 2 slot for myself. Am I trying to trade away or try and get Bell? I'm not trying to get Bell. I feel like he's there to ride the coattails and get a ring. I don't think he's there to be the star, even though he thinks he's probably the star. He's definitely not going to be the star of that running game, just with the talent that Helaire has shown. And even though Clyde Edwards-Helaire is such a talent, and we all know what an amazing athlete he is, he's kind of been capped a little bit too as far as rush yards. We haven't seen huge numbers from him. I mean, week 1, he had 25 attempts and 138 yards, and that was amazing, and a touchdown. But he hasn't had a touchdown since. And I think it's really just because when they get in close, either Mahomes is going to run it himself, or it's going to go to Kelsey. It's going to go to Hill. It's going to go to so many other options. That's the problem. They've just got too many options. They've got too many good things going on in their offense for either CEH or Bell to really see touchdown glory.
See, that's what drives me absolutely up a wall, is because all of those options you mentioned yourself is like Mahomes can do it. All those other options, it should open things up in goal-to-go situations for Edwards-Helaire to be able to knife his way through and find the end zone. He has been completely ineffective in those scenarios, and he's had plenty of opportunities, and that's where I see Lev Bell making a significant impact very quickly. And look, I get it. Well, here's the thing: is like I don't think Lev Bell's cooked. I don't think he's done, and that's where I think that there's a disconnect. Is like, oh, look at his yards per carry in New York. Well, the New York Jets have sucked. I mean, like, what do you expect? Any running back can look pedestrian and average under 3 yards per carry when offensive line issues are across the board. Like, even the best, like Saquon Barkley, we saw it earlier this year with Saquon. Like, the efficiency is going to drop when you had running or offensive line issues, period. Yeah. Now he goes from arguably the worst offense in the National Football League to the best. And if you give him 10 touches, a healthy, teed-up Lev Bell who's in good shape, and I still see plenty of burst, I think Lev Bell is going to be a much bigger issue. I'm actually looking to trade Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Hopefully he has a big week this week so I can go ahead and try to sell high on him. I'm serious. I love Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but, I mean, Bell is not a write-off back. He's not Shady McCoy from last year.
No. I mean, I think for me, I'm also thinking Clyde Edwards-Helaire, there's a lot of shares going around of him in dynasty leagues and things like that. So in that situation, I'm not parting ways with him. Maybe in a redraft scenario, I'd be more open to trading him, but in redrafts, I'm not moving him. I'm holding on tight to that one, because I just feel like Lev Bell is a volatile player, and I don't know what's going to happen with him. He says he's going to do one thing and then he does another. He's had a couple injuries. I just feel like he's not someone I'm going out to try and get onto my team. And maybe it's just because I've been burned before,
Well, you're
it's
also
not like I harbor grudges.
You're a Steelers fan, and he sat out for an entire year. I get it.
And he kept saying he was going to come back, and then he just didn't. And then he's now had to settle, and he was waiting for a big contract, got paid by the Jets, and now he's going to go settle for less money just to get a ring with the Chiefs. And I think it's a smart move for him, because obviously he's still going to get paid by the Jets, but at the same time has the opportunity to win a Super Bowl. So again, I think that this is just a bigger football move than a fantasy move. So it doesn't move the needle for me a ton on him.
It worries me for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm willing to cash out on Clyde Edwards-Helaire right now. That's
Cash
my
out.
opinion. I'm cashing out. Get what you can for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm not saying sell him for nothing.
No, but you're closing out the tab. You're closing the tab. You're moving on to the next bar.
If someone is willing to pay a top 5 to 10 running back price on the trade market for him, then I'm willing to part ways, because I think that Lev Bell is going to have a bigger role to finish the season than people anticipate.
Yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we will get to all your questions, and we appreciate you joining us. Will Jenkins is here. I'm here because I have nothing better to do. We appreciate you, Will.
Cheers, buddy. Yeah.
Here's that. I will get to a couple of these receiver questions shortly, but since we're talking running backs and we're going to talk a little bit more about them, I will get to this one by N. Smith. Who should I start, Swift or Chase Edmonds?
You got to go with Chase. There's DeAndre Swift right now. I loved him coming out. I actually had him as the best running back in this entire draft class. I think that he's a hell of a player, but right now, Darrell Bevell is very familiar with Adrian Peterson, and it seems like Adrian Peterson is their lead ball carrier moving forward until Matt Patricia gets ousted, and even then, Darrell Bevell's still there. So, yeah, I'm going with Chase Edmonds. He's looked very good, and he's looked better than Kenyon Drake, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go Chase Edmonds actually as well. I feel like a bit safer with that option going into this week. And I just want things to make me feel safe in week 6, because we all want to win. I know. I just want to feel safe. So I'm going to play Chase Edmonds there. And I think that's a safer pick. One more running back question, and then we'll get to these receiver questions when we get to the receivers after we finish these running back discussions. But he's got this one where it goes Mixon, David Johnson, or Antonio Gibson. Pick one.
I probably am going to go with David Johnson, as much as I don't. No, check that. I'm going with Tone Gibson. I'm going with Antonio Gibson, even though I'm very encouraged from the week that David Johnson had, over 90 rushing yards. Finally, that Texans offense showed signs of life. But I'm just going to – I don't know if I buy it quite yet. Devin Singletary really struggled running against this Titans unit up front. So for that reason, Tone Gibson's going against the Giants. The Giants have actually been playing much better football than people are giving them credit for, in particular on the defensive side of the football. But I am going to go with Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's going to be matchup for me, and I'm going to play him against the Giants easily. And I think that David Johnson has much better days ahead, obviously, with the coaching shift. I think he's going to benefit from that a lot. But up against Tennessee, I'd give me the Giants instead of that for that matchup. So I think you got to go with Gibson there. But let's keep talking about some more running backs, and let's talk a little bit about Christian McCaffrey really quickly, as we know that he's not playing this week. If you're a McCaffrey owner, I am in my Yahoo League, and I'm just watching him sit on my IR, sadly, just sad music playing in the background, tiny, tiny violin. But if you're a Christian McCaffrey owner, are you trying to trade him? Or if you don't have him, are you trying to get him right now? Do you think that owner is probably sitting at 1-4 desperation mode? Do you think this is a time you can capitalize?
I'm kind of interested and intrigued to see how this split's going to go once Christian McCaffrey comes back. Is there a possibility that when McCaffrey comes back from a high ankle sprain, that they kind of, I'm not going to say ease him in. I'm not saying he's going to be on like a pitch count or something like that, but does Mike Davis still have a role when he comes back? I think that there's a possibility. So believe it or not, I'm not trying to pay top dollar for the player that was probably picked number 1 overall in your fantasy draft. Not trying to pay that type of price tag when he's dealing with a high ankle sprain, they tend to linger. And even did with Saquon Barkley last year, and Mike Davis is playing at a high level. I think this is going to be Mike Davis has earned himself a role even once Christian McCaffrey comes back.
I agree with you. I feel like Mike Davis has done so well in his absence. I feel like, if anything, just the pass catchers take a dip as far as targets and touchdown opportunities if McCaffrey comes back. I feel like, obviously, DJ Moore hasn't been what we all wanted him to be. I feel like McCaffrey comes back in and he becomes more of the receiving back that we want him to. But I feel like he's going to lose a little bit of that quickness, just like you said, with Saquon, how he was dealing with a similar injury last year. He lost that explosiveness. And McCaffrey is that person who we all know for his explosiveness, his ability to cut, his ability to just extend the play. So I am worried about that with him. I still think he will be effective when he gets back, but he's not going to be last year's McCaffrey when he comes back.
The funny thing is I don't think it's going to affect Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore and the wide receivers and pass catchers, because in the last 4 games, even the one where Christian McCaffrey played into the second half against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Mike Davis has caught 30 passes over the last 4 games. I mean, that's what you would expect from Christian McCaffrey. I mean, so I think that I don't think it affects DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson as much. It's just more so, is there going to be some sort of, split between McCaffrey and Mike Davis to make sure that they're not, putting too much stress on McCaffrey's ankle, trying to limit him and work him, slowly ease him back into the offense. That's more so what makes me concerned about overly investing and trading for a, less than 100% commodity when the replacement is played very well. Of course, McCaffrey's McCaffrey, and if you can get him for something cheap, of course, inquire about it. I'm just not going to pay top dollar to trade for a hurt McCaffrey.
And that's my concern with trying to trade to get McCaffrey, is that the owner has been sitting there. Obviously, they probably took him number 1 overall, and they're just waiting to start him. But at the same time, I don't think that you're going to be able to convince the McCaffrey owner to trade him for anything less than complete top dollar. Right. And I don't think that that's going to end up balancing out your team by the end of the season for that win. Maybe if this is a dynasty situation and you're already not in a great position to win this year and you want to get him so that you can have him for next year, I could see that argument, absolutely. But I just don't see, you could trade him for a first-round pick and just have a losing season and hope for next year for dynasty, sure. But for standard and for redraft, I just don't see the benefit in trying to sell the farm just to have one shiny piece in McCaffrey, but he's not going to be as shiny as he normally is.
We're not even certain when he's coming back either. So in particular,
he could get moved again.
In Dynasty, you mentioned Dynasty. I'm not parting ways with Christian frickin' McCaffrey unless somebody gives me 3 or 4 first-round picks value-wise, or at least players and prospects that are equal to something of that nature, because McCaffrey's just that good when he's 100%.
He is. I will take Patrick Mahomes and a first-round pick and a second-round pick and a third-round pick. You'll have to buy me a case of beer.
A house.
A house. I mean, I would like to have, food delivered. I could get like Freshly or one of those food services. Yeah. So sign me up for a monthly 3-month thing on one of those. Then maybe we can talk about it. But there's a lot of things that have to go if I'm getting rid of McCaffrey.
A season's supply of beer, or if you're Matt Bucks, maybe just a week's supply of beer, because that'll put you out of business.
Just a Sunday. Anyway, so let's talk about Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay. So talk a bit about that Broncos backfield. Gordon is out and Phillip Lindsay is back from his injury. I was looking back at stats and I'm like, we got a small sample size to look at for this year, don't we? But at the same time, Lindsay was so effective last year. I feel like Melvin Gordon being out, we're going to get Phillip Lindsay 2019, and that's a good looking Phillip Lindsay.
Well, it may be a good-looking Phillip Lindsay, but unfortunately, the looks that he's going to be going against the New England Patriots is less than ideal for a return with a toe injury for a running back. But look, I love Phillip Lindsay as a player, and he has been incredibly effective to begin his career, and that's why I never really understood bringing in Melvin Gordon. Of course, it worked out well that, he suffered an injury the first week of the season. But the point being, first off, Melvin Gordon, it's disappointing and it's sad that he got a DUI. I'm not sure if the strep throat is really, that's what they're calling it as a reason why he's not playing. I'm not 100% sure that they're just saying, dude, you kind of screwed up, sit your ass on the bench.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah, I mean, it just, unfortunate across the board. But this week, Phillip Lindsay, I think he's a top 25 option. Like, I'm cautiously optimistic. I will definitely put him in as like a low end running back to or a flex in best case scenario. I'm just, against the New England Patriots, I'm not as high on it. And not to mention, do we know if Drew Lock is coming back yet? Is it going to be Brett Rippon, under center?
No, I think it's this week in particular is tempered expectations for sure, but Noah Fant is out. KJ Hamler is still out. I think that, they are suffering in the pass catcher department. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for him. And if they're playing from behind, I feel like could be a lot of garbage time points for him. So I think that if you have Phillip Lindsay, and obviously we're all dealing with injuries across the board in different situations, I think you can still start him. I don't think that you're benching him just because you're scared of New England. And you have no other options, obviously, I think you should plug him in there and not worry about it. I think that there's a specific line of players I would still play him over. I'm sure we'll be getting a lot of Phillip Lindsay questions tomorrow on our morning show. Guys, don't forget, we will get to some of these questions shortly, but we want to get through a couple of these player price checks. Tomorrow morning, Fantasy Focused, we will be on live 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time to answer only start-sit questions. Answering all of them. Jump them all in the chat, and that is the only thing we will be covering. There's sometimes a little bit of nonsense, but we will be covering all your questions tomorrow. So if we don't get your question today, please bring it tomorrow, and I'm sure that we'll get covering all of those for you.
Yeah, trade questions though. Let's get some trade questions right now though, because in the price check right now, the fluid, like ever-changing value of players is just seems so crazy and maybe almost hyper this season because of COVID, because of, guys, being dropped mid-season, like Lev Bell, for example, changing things fluidly. Just kind of interested to see if you guys have any interesting questions when it comes to that.
Dried Ocean has an offer question that he has thrown in the chat for us. Thanks, Dried Ocean. I was offered 2 2022 first rounders and David Johnson 4 acres. I accepted. My other young running backs are Henry, Gibson, Moss, and Dillon. I'm new to Dynasty, so I don't know if that was a good or bad. So you received 2 2022 first round picks and David Johnson for Cam Akers. I think that's a great trade because first rounders have a ton of value. Obviously, you don't know what 2022 is going to be like, but I love first round picks. Stack them up if you're in Dynasty.
Unless somebody is paying for a top end stud, and we're talking like Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, we're talking like cream of the crop. You get multiple first round picks for any player. It intrigues me. But you also throw in somebody that right now is producing more than Cam Akers in David Johnson, and you get 2 first rounder. I mean, I don't even know if like Cam Akers is worth 1 future first. Like that's a muddy backfield, and there's no guarantee that Akers is ever going to be the bell cow back in Los Angeles. So I think this is damn near highway robbery with 2 future firsts.
I think that you absolutely stole this trade easily because, like Tate said, we don't really know what Cam Akers' role is going to be with LA, and I feel like if anything, it's going to be running back by committee here on out. So I think you ran away with this one. 2 first rounders, that's amazing value. If you don't want to use those picks, those are great picks to trade away to get other pieces. And like we said, for David Johnson, with the coaching shift, I think that better days are ahead. So if you're in a good position to even win this year, I think that this has set you up nicely.
Yeah, Dried Ocean also too. Like the only thing that concerns me about someone that's willing to make that an aggressive of a trade for someone, there's an argument to be made that Darrell Henderson is actually the most valuable running back out of Los Angeles. So if someone's giving 2 first rounders and a fringe top 25 running back or a top 25 running back at the current moment, I'm just hoping he doesn't quit the league. I mean, that's I don't get that. That to me, that's a terrible trade. It's a great trade for you though. So good job.
Yeah, glad that you benefited from that, Drydosh, and that was awesome. We'll get one more trade question for running backs, and then we're going to talk about Dalvin Cook and switch to receivers, and then get to a lot of these receiver questions. So thanks for jumping those in the comments, guys. User asking, trade Lev right now? Is he at his highest value right now?
Well, I don't think so, because I think Lev Bell is going to have an impact on this Chiefs offense. Standard, I'm holding. PPR, though, you do make the very valid point of there's just so many options in that passing game, including Clyde Edwards-Helaire, that his weekly floor is going to be very volatile. But in standard, I think he is going to be the preferred option inside the 5-yard line for one of the highest scoring offenses in the National Football League. So standard, I'm holding. PPR, I'm willing to see what I can get for him on the open market. And
I am trading him in no matter what league I can get. if he fell onto my team, I'm still trying to trade him. I feel like, yes, this is the highest possible value you're going to get for him. You have a week of grace period because he's not going to play this week. So you can field offers next week as well. But I am getting rid of him because I feel like that offense just has far too many bright spots for him to really make a big impact. I think, again, this is a big football move, better than fantasy move. And I feel like, Chiefs just shored up their backfield, and that's great for them. But I don't see us getting a lot of great fantasy value out of him. So if you can trade him, I would trade him.
I think this is why they call it the fantasy debate with Sam and Tate, because we differ on this one. I'm still a believer in Lev Bell.
And I'm not.
Cheers to that, Sam.
Cheers to that. But let's talk about Dalvin Cook really quick and Alexander Mattison. Cook is out. And I feel like Mattison is one of those players that if you drafted Cook, you likely handcuffed him with Mattison just because he is such – hopefully you did. We've talked about handcuffs before, and we did in preseason. That's the only player handcuff that I was immediately like, yes, you have to back him up, because the way that Cook runs, if he gets hurt, next man up is a fantastic next man up in Alexander Mattison. So for me, this switch, if you have him, I'm slotting him into my lineups wherever I can, because he's going to eat up as far as targets go, as far as, floor, all good things.
Yeah, no, I got you. So when it comes to Alexander Mattison, he is the one player, like you mentioned, with like the one handcuff, right? He's the one I felt confident that if there is an injury to Dalvin Cook, that he is an immediate top 12 option. Like, I see some great things from Alexander Mattison. And he even proved me right last week. Keep in mind, against the Seahawks, he only played 50% of the snaps, but saw 20 carries.
Yeah.
It's hard, and caught 3 passes, like 23 touches in 50% of the offensive snaps.
It's a lot of touching.
That's a lot of touching. That's yep. You're getting the hand on the ball a lot.
All over it.
But he was he was efficient though, like incredibly. 112 rushing yards on 20 carries. And it's not like this is the only game where he's been efficient. Like, he was even efficient with his touches against Green Bay back in week 1. He is no doubt, unless you're just loaded at running back, he is a must start every week that Dalvin Cook is on the shelf.
Absolutely. I completely agree. This debate isn't going to be much of one, as we're both obviously slotting Mattison into our lineups wherever we have them if we don't have Cook going. So hopefully if you are a Dalvin Cook owner, you do have Alexander Mattison. If not, you're screwed. Hopefully you got other options, because you should have backed him up, because this is one of those duos that you just needed to slot. I feel like when you have a back like Dalvin Cook, you need to handcuff him just because of the injury history, just the way that they run the ball there in Minnesota. That's just a backup you need to have. Got to back up your backup. Back it up. But let's switch over to receivers and talk Julio Jones, as he does not have an injury designation this week. Yay! No red mark next to Julio. However, given the way that receiving core has gone, with Ridley and Gage being so effective, even Zacchaeus is being effective, do you have confidence starting Julio this week?
No. I don't. I want to see that he's healthy.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that Julio is capable of making it through a game without aggravating that injury. Look, you saw it back in week 2. Played 78% of the snaps, but was completely ineffective. And you could tell, you can tell when someone can't open it up, right? Like when they want to just hit the gas, but you can't. Like there's something going on with the engine in a car. You can hear something going on. Like you could tell that Julio is not Julio.
Yeah.
Back in week 2, misses week 3, comes back week 4, probably not ready to go, but still comes back, plays 28% of the snaps, out of the game. You get a goose. You essentially get a big old goose egg from Julio Jones. Misses week 5. I'm going to put him on the bench. I know that's tough.
It's tough. It's tough to bench Julio, but I hear you. I'll give you my take after this. But we've got Stephen Drakes in the chat throwing us some love. Really appreciate you.
Oh, Stephen, thank you, man.
We've got to get to this question real quick. Little pause between our Julio talks. Stephen, we want to answer this one for you. He needs 2. He needs Gurley, Robinson, or Gaskins in full PPR. And does he play Juju or Jefferson?
You know, I can't sit Todd Gurley after what I saw last week. And James Robinson, even though he got off to a fantastic start, I don't know how much I'm feeling. I'm much rather going with Gaskin against the Jets than I am with James Robinson. I mean, even though the Lions on paper is a nice matchup, I'm just having a hard time trusting Gardner Minshew on a week-to-week basis. I know it sounds funny that I'm trusting Ryan Fitzpatrick, but he's playing good football. I mean, I thought that they would have gone to Tua Tagovailoa by now, but there's a reason they haven't, and it's because Ryan Fitzpatrick is playing good football. I thought he did a very good job, actually a great job against the 49ers defense. I know that they had a bunch of injuries, but give me Gaskins against the Jets and give me Gurley, who played really well last week.
Yeah, no, I like that for sure. And I think that I'm going back and forth between these matchups as well, because they're both, to me, good matchups against Detroit and against the Jets. So for me, again, Gurley is an easy slot in there, and going back and forth between Robinson and Gaskins, that's the big question mark. I feel like if you're looking at these teams as who they're going against this week, I feel like the Jets are just a wounded animal at this point that you can just capitalize on. So I think that might be your safest bet. But I do think that the Jacksonville-Detroit game can be a sneaky high-scoring game, because I could also see them just not having any defense to stand on either side. So I think Gaskin might just be the safer one, because I feel like Detroit one could be a bit more of a question mark. So I'm going to agree with Tate. I'm going to go Gaskins and Gurley as well. So hopefully that helped you out, Stephen. Really appreciate you.
What about the receiver question though? We have.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my bad.
We have Juju or Jefferson, and I know that Juju's going up against the Cleveland Browns. When I'm looking at Justin Jefferson, damn it, I want to start Jefferson, and I
so bad.
started him last week because he had back-to-back 100-yard games heading into that tilt against the Seattle Seahawks. Didn't have a very good game. I got to start Jefferson. I'm sorry. I know that Juju is your boy. I love Juju Smith-Schuster, Sam, and I know you're going to go Juju. I know you are. I get it. And Juju's going to have a good game. But right now, they are just rolling out warm bodies for the Falcons secondary. Seriously, if I were to send in an old demo tape from high school along with fudging up my resume and putting that I have some DB experience in college, they would probably give me a workout. I'm just saying, right now they are ravaged by injuries.
Yeah.
So,
no, I get that. They're definitely ravaged by injuries, and I'm going to shock you, and I'm going to agree, and I'm going to go with Jefferson here as well, just because I feel like he's been so effective as that second receiving option. And I feel like when you look at the matchup with Juju and the Browns, I feel like there's just a lot of options that Ben has there, and he's going to utilize all of them. Claypool has been very effective as of late, and I feel like Juju is going to be drawing a lot of that coverage. So I think that Jefferson's going to be your play here, and he's going to outscore in fantasy Juju Smith-Schuster. Pains me to say it, but
higher
I agree.
higher scoring game, I think,
Higher scoring game.
between the Vikings and the Falcons than the Browns and Steelers. So.
For sure. I think the Browns and Steelers is going to be something closer to like 13-10, and Minnesota and Atlanta, it's going to be something ridiculous like 24-36. Like, it's going to be a ridiculously high scoring game.
Let's roll. But Steven, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you so much for throwing that one for us. And with that, with answering that receiver question, we will now go into more receivers, and I'll give my quick take on Julio. If I have him and I have no other better options because I'm so decimated at receiver, I'll play him. But if I have anyone that's got a better opportunity for a higher floor in this week, I'm going to be benching Julio as well. I just do not have confidence in him the first week back. We still have a lot of other options. Gage has been very effective. I'm just holding on Julio one more week. Want to see how he does. Do I think that there is a better season end for Julio? I absolutely do. I feel like he's too fantastic of a talent to not have better weeks ahead, but I am cautiously optimistic and not starting him this week. Really quick, before we go into the next one, Victor J's, I'm not drinking this morning, so there will not be a drinking word unless I just want to get really...
Whatever word you want, pal.
Yeah, Tate will just keep ripping them because I just got coffee over here.
Yep, it's okay. Just pick a word. You guys
pick a word and we'll go there.
You guys pick a word in the comments. It could be the. I don't care.
All right. Buccaneers, we're going to cover those receivers next. Now, it's been a little bit easier to pick which receiver to start week to week, as there's been one injured, two injured, and making it easier to pick between the lot. However, now all of them are healthy and a go to start this week. As our Bucks fan, I see the flag behind you, Tate. How do you feel managing which receiver to trust this week?
So, I mean, they were taking it cautiously with Chris Godwin for a reason, right? I believe that Chris Godwin I think Mike Evans is going to get the Jair Alexander treatment. We'll start there. And Jair Alexander is one of the best young corners in the National Football League. So I don't think that Evans is going to have a bad week. I just think it caps him a little bit. I think he probably somewhere around 60 yards, but he scored every single week. Like, Evans has scored a touchdown every single game to start the 2020 season.
That's a stat you like. You like that stat.
Oh, gotta love that. I mean, you're
Who doesn't like that stat? Yeah.
You're starting Evans. I mean, even in the week that he caught one pass, it was a touchdown against Marshawn Lattimore. So you're starting Mike Evans regardless. But Chris Godwin is going to see that volume. And we're going to find out how much the Packers offense is for real, because I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Davante Adams is back, by the way, for the Green Bay Packers on the other side. Sucks that Alan Lazard got hurt because I really liked what I saw, but it is what it is. MVS will be on the other side. Carlton Davis versus Davante Adams. I think Davante Adams is going to eat. No offense to Carlton Davis. Love him. Think he's a very good corner, but Davante Adams is Davante Adams, and he's healthy. He's going to do his thing. Rodgers playing at a high level. The interesting matchup is going to be up front, that Green Bay Packers running game, and Matt LaFleur, trying to dial up Aaron Jones versus a unit that's very stout against the defense, against the run for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But Aaron Rodgers, I think, is going to eat. He's going to do his thing. You give him Davante Adams, and what were the numbers exactly last week that he did against the Atlanta Falcons? Back in week 4, he did that without Davante Adams, and he threw for 303 or 4 scores or some shit like that. The dude is legit. He's having a hell of a year.
Yeah, Rodgers having a hell of a year. I got a couple trade offers that were trying to sneak Rodgers in there as well, and I'm like, no, don't just throw Aaron Rodgers in there like he's the bum of the past. No, Rodgers is still doing really well this year, and if you're in a 2 QB league, you're probably grateful that you probably got him in a really late round. I am. Thank you. This is awesome. Really appreciate it, Aaron. This is awesome. I'll run with this all year. But I feel like for me, if anything, having Godwin and Evans together, I kind of like that as a double up for DFS. I don't know if that would be too pricey or too ridiculous, but I mean, if I have both, I'm starting both.
Oh no, regardless of whoever you have between Godwin and Evans, they're two right answers. You're
Two
starting.
right answers. Yes, absolutely. So I
Yeah,
think
I
that
even
you're
like
just
Scotty
right.
Miller though. I mean, like, and we're going to
Scotty Miller pissed me off.
When we will talk about Scotty here in a second, and he's going to be somebody we talk about when it comes to a dart throw. If you're in a desperate situation to start somebody on your waiver wire, more than likely, we'll get into that in a second. But look, Tom, I always anticipated as a diehard Bucs fan that it was going to take some time for Brady to get fully acclimated to this new system, to his new pass catchers. In every week, there's been some sort of injury with his pass catching options. Gronk is still getting back up to football speed. Like, we have yet to see the best of the Buccaneers passing offense. I think it's going to continue to get better. Now you got a full slate of options against the Green Bay Packers. I'm really looking forward to this game. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun game too. I think it'll be high scoring, a lot of great potential, great floors. We just did a couple Monkey Knife Fight videos, guys. So if you haven't checked those out, please do. But this is a great game that you can pull up on Monkey Knife Fight. Derek, the code is focused, right?
I'm doing a video solo on this after
nice. Okay, cool. Guys, definitely tune in for that because I'm sure that this is going to be a great one that there'll be some over-unders and some more or less. And
I'm probably going to be drunk as hell for it, but it's fine.
Perfect. Yeah, you'll have a great time. Make some good picks. It'll be good. There's going to be a lot of value here. But let's talk quickly about our dart throws, and then we'll get into the rest of these questions, guys. Thank you for throwing them in here. We will definitely get to them. So I just saw a question that I'm going to throw up there because I think it's hilarious. But James Thomas saying, do you like pancakes?
Jimmy Davey. That's Jimmy Davey. I know Jimmy Davey. And
I love me some pancakes.
I mean, it's a reference to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson back when he was with the WWE. He would ask gals, do you like pancakes? Go ahead and pancake your ass back to wherever you're from. He would just basically tell them off and shit like that. It was great.
Oh my goodness. That's funny.
It's The Rock. I mean, and that was prime Rock too. Like
prime Rock.
That was prime Rock.
Sure. All right. Well, let's just go through our dart throws really quick. Two of mine, and then yours were super deep ones as well. But T. Higgins and Preston Williams, I think, are dart throws that could see some potential this week. I think James is jumping at you in the comments, but we'll get to that later. I think that the matchup with Indy is going to be an interesting one for the Bengals. That is a very stout defense, but a receiver that could get open and get out could be T. Higgins, and I feel like he could get a couple big plays in there as well. Preston Williams has had a little bit of a resurgence, and against the Jets, I'm going to take an option to start anyone up against the Jets this year. So I think that he could be a good dart throw for you, depending on your options. So, Tate, what are a couple of yours?
First off, I want to second the motion on T. Higgins.
Nice.
So T. Higgins has scored at least 10 fantasy points in PPR formats for 3 straight weeks. And we saw last week, AJ Green, there was some, kind of, I guess, rumors, conjecture that he was saying that he just go ahead and trade me on the sideline.
Drama. Come on, AJ Green.
Little drama. Come on. And of course, we know that he got hit with the franchise tag this offseason. Some were like, oh, don't worry about it. He's happy. No, he wanted a long-term deal. And I even feel like he could have came back last year and decided not to because, like, why am I going to come risk injury on an ankle I just got surgery on whatever. He's not – there's something going on there between him and the Cincinnati organization that I think is underlying, and it doesn't help that him and Joe Burrow are not clicking, but the one person that two people, Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, are the two people that Joe Burrow's clicking with. Feel very good about T. Higgins, even against a tough matchup against Indianapolis. Okay, now that I got that out of my system,
I'm glad you got that out. We all needed to get that out of our system.
I'm sorry. Like, there's just some times where, like, I need to really, like, AJ Green is just such a disappointment to me this year. I'm sorry.
He was a disappointment to you last year as well. I mean, we've had this discussion many a time where it's like just AJ Green is just this big question mark and just a why. Like, why are you just being you? Can you just be cool? Can you just be cool for 5 minutes, AJ Green, so we can just get some fantasy goodness out of you?
It sucks. It's like, son of a bitch. Like, come on. Like, I know how good you're great. you're almost like borderline Hall of Fame good. Like,
yeah.
And you're not doing anything right now. It's just like shit. Christian Kirk, though.
Okay.
Is another one I want to throw a dart at this week. Look, I know Kirk got off to a slow start, and really the dude's been dinged up a lot throughout his entire NFL career. But, I saw some things I like. You just mentioned that Jets defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was involved this past week. 5 catches, 78 yards. And now you're going up against Dallas. And, Dallas damn near was giving up like a ton of points to the New York Giants. Like, this Dallas defense sucks. No offense to Cowboys fans, but your defense sucks. And
but you suck, you bums.
No offense, but they suck.
No offense. All the offense. You guys suck.
It just insulted the entire fan base. But look, Christian Kirk, I just feel like a healthy Christian Kirk against a defense that gives up a lot of yards and a lot of points is a dart throw that I want to take.
Yeah. No, I like that one as well. I think those are good dart throws. And then we'll wrap this up by trying to get to as many of these questions as we can, guys. But again, if we don't get to your question, please tune in tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. The entire Fantasy Focus crew will be together to answer all of your start-sit questions. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top because we went to a couple running back questions to begin with, but I'm going to get back to this receiving one. We've got Mark asking Jefferson or Chark this week.
Jefferson. DJ Chark got hurt last week, didn't finish the game. If he's less than 100%, I'm just going to go ahead and why roll with DJ Chark? We already have inconsistent play from Gardner Minshew under center. Just give me Jefferson, and what I like is a matchup against the Atlanta Falcons secondary that, look, they just fired their head coach. They closed down their practice facilities this week. I know they just reopened, but I mean, come on, there's a lot of moving parts. And one thing that hasn't been there is any sort of consistency communication-wise in that Falcons secondary. So give me Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I agree completely. Go Justin Jefferson here. I think it's a safer pick there between the two. So hopefully that helps you out, Mark. Will Jenkins has got one for us. Who should I start in my flex? Full PPR, Crowder, Drake, Judy, or Claypool? These are great options, Will. You're always stacking up your team so nicely and giving us these horrible questions. So good job, Will.
You're making me, oh, damn it, Drake. I'm getting rid of Drake in this scenario, even though I love Kenyon Drake, but
yeah,
even the touchdown that he scored last week, they just basically, I think he ran off to the sideline, and the Cardinals coaching staff just said, look, man, run straight. Don't try to overthink this shit. Just go.
Don't be cute. Just run. Just go that way. Just
forward. Onward to the end
Forward.
zone. And he finally scored after just running into the back of his offensive line 3 straight plays. So I'm fading Drake but Claypool and Crowder, oh, damn it. No Deontay Johnson this week makes me want to go Claypool. But Crowder, back-to-back 7-catch, 100-plus yard games. I'm going to go Crowder if I'm going floor. I'm going Crowder. If you want an upside guy, roll the dice with Claypool.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with Crowder as well, just because it's a safer floor for that flex position. I do think Claypool could have a big game. I don't think he's going to have another 4-touchdown game. It's anomaly. As a Steelers fan, would I like to see that every week? Hell yes. I'm not going to shoot that in the foot, but I'm trying to win for you, Will, and we want to make sure that we make a smart pick. And I think that Crowder's the smartest pick here of those 4. Highest floor, good matchup.
Round safety suck, though. So can I see a scenario where Claypool scores a 50-yard tutty? Yeah, I do.
I'm down.
Yeah, like button.
Yes, please subscribe. And that would be awesome. We've got DataCon asking, would you trade Beckham for McLaurin?
But that is so that's tricky because I don't trust Kyle Allen. Why, when you saw Alex Smith would you go back to Kyle Allen? Like, I'm staying away from Washington, even though McLaurin seems like the one safe guy. Beckham has been involved, and they've been finding ways to get the ball in his hands, get him touches.
Yeah.
So for that reason, even though it's going to be very volatile, I'm actually going to go with I probably wouldn't do it. I hate saying that. But either way, if you just like McLaurin more as a player and you probably want a higher weekly floor, then then pull the trigger. It's just I'm not. I'm going Beckham.
Yeah, I think that right now it's just a little bit safer of a pick, which sounds weird because I've never been a fan liked or been on any train involving Beckham. But they are working to get him more utilized, and it's been a little bit more consistent. So I would keep Beckham just with the QB confusion going on there with Washington. I think that I'm not hoping to grab more shares of what's going on there until they get a bit more solid underneath. And then we've got a question from Keegan McLean. Who do I start wide receiver 2, Moore, Boyd, or Edelman?
Really, I'm eliminating Edelman out of this scenario, even though Cam Newton is back. But COVID does scare me at this current moment for the Patriots. So Moore or Boyd.
You love Tyler Boyd.
I do love me some Tyler Boyd. And
he might be your ride or die this year.
Oh, yeah, I know. Tricky. Damn it. The Carolina Panthers, though. I got to tell you, and I have to admit I like to admit when I'm wrong because I want to be transparent with anybody that joins the podcast and everything like that.
We're always trying to be honest, our best unique selves.
I said the Carolina Panthers were going to be in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstake for this upcoming NFL draft, and I feel like I was pretty wrong on that because Matt Rule's doing a great job coaching. Teddy Bridgewater's doing a great job playing quarterback. They got the Chicago Bears this week. It's not a great matchup either for the Cincinnati Bengals, who have the Indianapolis Colts. In that scenario, I'm going Tyler Boyd, higher floor.
I agree. I'm going to go Tyler Boyd as well. I think it's just a higher floor, safer pick there for me. Now let's get to DataCon asking another. Also start Adrian Peterson or Jerick McKinnon. I sadly have Kamara, who's on a bye, and Bell, who isn't playing this week in a 12-man league. That sucks. These are one of those scenarios and situations where, you're just trying to play a body that's alive. Just get out there and just get me some points, please. And I know that I did just see that Adrian Peterson was sick. So he doesn't have COVID, but he was sick. So I don't know if that.
About that.
He had a bit of the sniffles. So hopefully he's okay and good to start. Otherwise, you might just be stuck with starting McKinnon. So definitely check the inactives tomorrow. But between the two, if I had to pick, I would go Peterson.
Yeah, I'm going AP. Again, keep a close eye on the inactives, though.
Look at that. Check your notifications. Notifications on.
Just join us tomorrow. We'll tell you.
Yeah. We'll have all the inactives up. So definitely tune in tomorrow morning, DataCon, and we will get you the answer there again on that one. But hopefully it gets sorted out. Victor J is saying, what's going on, Victor? It's great to have you joining us.
Love me some Victor.
User asking, should I trade Amari and Chark for Julio? Amari and Chark for Julio? I would not.
Hell to the no.
That's too much. Too pricey for me.
No,
definitely.
Like what I say to my bartender at the end of my tab. Like, no, I don't want to pay this $80 tab. No.
But you have to pay for those apple martinis.
That's rude. You had to go there. That's rude.
Oh, so good. All right. Getting to more questions as I scroll.
A lot of Odell questions.
Questions.
DataCon.
Trade Odell for McLaurin. I mean, I think that, Odell, we've obviously seen him be not what we want him to be, and now it's starting to look a little bit better. So I think a lot of us are hesitant. We have a lot of trust issues with Odell.
We're definitely trust issues is the perfect way to put it.
It's trust issues. I have trust issues with Odell. I have trust issues in life too. But I get it. I share in these trust issues, guys. I get it.
I will say that he's seen his receptions go up every single week. Like he started at 3 to start the year. I'm wondering if he's going to get traded. Then he catches 4 and a touchdown. Then he catches 4 again. Now it's 5 the past 2 weeks. Like, They're finding ways to get the man involved.
It's getting better, but I get it. I get the hesitation. The Wallido wants to know, should I trade Amari Cooper for DK Metcalf? Yes,
Yep.
you should. Do that. Hit that trade now. Hopefully they haven't rescinded it. Do it.
Yeah, if you can get DK Metcalf or Amari Cooper, then hell yeah. I mean, we, in all seriousness, I just to touch on the Dallas situation, we just don't know what to expect from Andy Dalton for the rest of the year. So if you can cash out on these Dallas pass catchers, I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that too. And I've never been a big Andy Dalton fan. No shocker there based on, where my allegiances lie. However, I feel like the pass catchers with Dallas are very, very effective. They're good. They're really talented players. So if they're going to make something out of nothing, they're going to be able to do that. However, a trade like this, I am not passing up on. So as user says, in response to that question, yes, just a big yes.
Somebody pissed me off earlier this week and said DK Metcalf isn't a very good route runner. And I'm like, have you been watching? Dudes get not only is he like freaking.
Do they watch football?
Huh?
Do they watch football?
I don't know.
Maybe they don't watch football.
This is okay. So I can get triggered very easily because I watch a lot of film. You know this. Like I'm a football junkie, and when I see a comment on the interwebs that just goes like it's a blanket statement. Oh, DK Metcalf doesn't run very good routes. Like what? Like.
Why don't you just throw that into the cosmos just with no basis of an argument? Just, this is what I think. That's nice, but you're wrong.
Then I went in. Like I wrote like 3 paragraphs worth of like film breakdown into a comment, and it's like, well, you're entitled to your opinion. No. I know what I'm talking about here. DK Metcalf.
Was this on Twitter? Because you need to not get into these fights on Twitter.
I know. I already had to apologize for someone because I got into it with him about Tyler Higbee. So
I know. You gotta hold back. We all know. It's
tough.
Okay. It's okay for these people to be wrong, Tate. It's okay. They have to fall asleep at night knowing that they probably are wrong. And that sucks for them. But let's get to the rest of these questions really quick. Victor Jays says, I'm still itching since I didn't have Thursday Night Football fix. Guys, we're all hurting here, which is why.
By the way, did that catch you off guard? Because I was sitting there like, oh yeah, we got Thursday Night Football. Like I do my sports anchor thing during the week and everything.
Yeah.
Like that. So I'm like, oh, I'm working on weekday nights. I got Thursday Night Football, and I look and I'm like, oh shit. Like, we don't have Thursday Night Football, and I'm like, this sucks.
I literally said, oh, shit, in the middle of work because I was scrolling. I'm like, oh, yeah, who's playing tonight? And I look, and I'm scrolling, and I hit refresh because I'm like, what's going on? My phone's been weird this week, and I'm just refreshing. And then I said, shit, really loud. And then my coworkers next to me are like, what's wrong? I'm like, no Thursday Night Football. And they're like, why do we even ask anymore? Anytime you say an expletive loudly in the middle of a work day, it has to do with football. I'm like, I know. That's the only thing that really has my heart is football. So, we'll get through it. We'll get through it together, guys. So throw in a couple more.
Knox makes that list at least.
Yes, I know. I do like him. I like my cat. It's not every day it's love, because he destroys things. But anyways, if we don't get to your question today, guys, please tune in tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. We will be answering all of your start-sit questions with the inactives list in front of us. So we will be giving you the hot takes right away. So please jump in the comments there. We will get to the rest of these questions, and then we will sign off for the day. High upside, low risk, great name, has a start-sit question for us. Non-PPR, he wants to flex A.J. Brown, Chris Godwin, or David Johnson. He says, I'm concerned Godwin coming back from an injury, and A.J. might have Corey Davis and Humphreys in the lineup. Thank you for your answers. So this is an interesting question, and I love that these are your flex options. First of all, high upside, low risk. Great job drafting.
Absolutely. When in doubt, in particular in a standard or non-PPR league, whatever you want to call it, I always tend to flex with the running backs that are going to see somewhere between 10 and 15 touches, right? I do expect you're choosing between a bunch of right answers, in my opinion, but I will go with David Johnson. He just had his best game of the season. And I know it was against the Jags, but I will, in this scenario, go with just the person that's going to see the ball the most.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that, non-PPR standard league you kind of always have to run with your running backs at the flex position just based on requisite touches. So I do like him a lot this week. I know that they're at Tennessee, but even with that matchup, I feel like he has a really good floor. Obviously, like Tate said, these are all right answers. You go with your gut on these, but we both agree here on going David Johnson between those three. So thanks for the question, High Upside, and I love your name. Victor Jays says, make a band with animals, land or sea. I'll get it started. Octopus for drums.
I figured you were going that. If you had the first draft pick, then I'm screwed. Because I don't know. I'm going to go with a swordfish playing what is it? What is the triangle?
Yeah, the triangle.
Yeah, have the swordfish playing the triangle.
Nice. That's a good one. I think I would maybe go. I think elephant at trumpet would just be, pretty solid. Kind of an OG 101 pick there.
I'm going with a dolphin as my lead singer. Like, just
I get that.
You remember all the Flipper episodes? Yeah.
Oh, sure. Love it. Let's get to a couple more of these really quick before we sign off. User says, confused what to do with Deontay Johnson. Will he ever be a solid wide receiver too?
Yes, but unfortunately, the dude can't stay on the field for more than one touch over the last couple games, and I've started in both of those games in a couple leagues. So to hell with me.
To hell with me. I mean, that's dark, and I feel bad. But is he ever going to be a wide receiver too? I think he can be still, but he's just had a lot of question marks as far as injury concerns this year. Definitely tune in for the next Monkey Knife Fight video as Tate has opened another beer. That is going to be a great episode. But as far as Deontay Johnson goes, Chase Claypool is just doing really, really well. And I think this is a very high-powered offense that has a lot of great options. So I think that depending on the week, if he's healthy, Deontay could still be a great wide receiver too. Just hard to hang your hat on that.
I'm watching Steelers games when he was healthy. He's AB, but like the store brand version, not brand name. Like,
oh sure, okay, I can see that.
AB was the best receiver in the National Football League.
Yeah,
Deontay Johnson has so many similarities. I think he will 100%, if he can stay healthy, he will be a top 15 receiver for a season or possibly multiple seasons moving forward. Like, yeah, keep him, you'll be okay, user.
Yes, better days are ahead. All right, Sam asking CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson this week.
Give me Justin Jefferson. CeeDee Lamb, with Andy Dalton under center. I understand they keep finding ways to get CeeDee Lamb the football, but Justin Jefferson against the Atlanta Falcons secondary that is just ravaged by injury. Give me Justin Jefferson.
Too good of a matchup to not start Justin Jefferson. Agreed completely. Justin Jefferson all the way. He might be our name of the day tomorrow. I kind of feel it coming with all these questions that are going to be coming in.
A lot. I mean, yeah, they're tipping their hat with Justin Jefferson. So
yeah, it's going to be a Justin Jefferson day for sure. Carlos Lara saying, choose two for my running back 1 and running back 2. CEH, Mostert, Antonio Gibson, Alexander Madison. These are great options.
Yeah, I'm going to make this very, very, very simple. I'm going CEH and I'm going Alexander Madison.
Yep. No, I completely agree. I'm not going to second guess that choice at all. Alexander Madison is going to absolutely dominate as far as taking over for Dalvin Cook. He's going to be eating. He's going to be, it's going to be a feast of fantasy points for Alexander Madison. So him, absolutely. CEH, it's still his job. Bell is not there this week, not until next week. And it's the Chiefs. So I'm always going to side with someone that has Mahomes under center. So CEH and Madison for both of us on that one. Babino Rosas.
Yeah, I love it. Sorry.
Speaking of Cincy, would you pick Dalton over Burrow rest of the season?
No, Burrow is playing. I mean, and the thing is that Dalton has such great options, but really, Burrow has some very good ones too. And they can't consistently run the football. That defense is playing a lot better. Much better than I anticipated heading into the year. But I think Burrow's a real freaking deal.
I think he's the real deal too. And I think that Burrow is just one of those students of the game that he continues to work on improving. And as far as the Bengals have gone, they're a team that needs constant improvement. But I think that he's someone that is going to put in the work because he sees the potential, not just for himself, but for the players around him. It's a young team there outside of AJ Green. It's a very young team that has a lot of room for improvement, and they're going to.
But they rally around Joe. Like they
do.
He's
absolutely their leader.
He's got this swagger about him that just screams like that's a bad man, and he's going to be a bad man. You're going to have your growing pains like you did against the Ravens this past week. Like that's going to happen when you're outmatched up front, which the Bengals are on a regular basis. But that actually plays into Cincy's favor because they're not going to be able to sustain drives. They're not going to be able to fully take advantage of Joe Mixon. So, yeah, I give me Burrow over Dalton.
Especially playing from behind as often as they have been, as much as they keep trying to just get to those wins. Burrow's going to see a lot of volume. Yep. So I feel like he's better to me rest of season as well. Charlie Hicks saying, should I pick up Cameron Brate and put him on my bench? I already have Tom Brady and Mike Evans in a standard league.
Unless you're in like a 20-team league, no.
No. I think it really depends on the depth of the league and the depth of your bench, because I don't want to waste a bench spot on a tight end.
Charlie, I get it. He's a Bucs fan. Charlie's a big Bucs fan, and I get that Cameron Brate is a very good player, but unfortunately – just too many mouths to feed in a standard league.
Yeah. We'll try and get to the rest of these rapid fire really quick, guys. We want to get these questions done, but don't forget to tune in tomorrow morning. We will answer the rest of these. So let's do these a little bit faster. Quick. We've got Khalees Talk saying 2 to 3 PPR, 8 out of 10, 6 seeds, make playoffs. It's close. Watson, Moore, Chark, Robinson, Woods, AJ Brown. Wait, this is your whole lineup. I'm confused. Did I read this question wrong?
So I mean, it says 2 to 3 PPR, or 2 and 3 record in a PPR format.
Okay.
We need to pick 8
out of 10.
Out of 10. 8 players out of 10. So I mean, we got Watson. Of course, you're starting Deshaun Watson. I'm starting Deshaun Watson this week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fade DJ Chark, and of this group. Probably DJ Moore, that first set, and then Watson Moore for Lamar and Slayton in a trade scenario. I don't see the upside with it. Like Watson is producing just as much as Lamar is right now. Lamar's really having a disappointing season. So I'm actually rolling with Watson, and Moore's the better player than Slayton, in my opinion.
I agree. I'm going to go Watson and Moore on that half as well. And I'm also going to fade Chark, and I'm going to fade. I mean, you've got Cook in there, so I feel like that's got to be an accident. He's out, so definitely don't start him.
Well, if it's Jared Cook, then you fade him too. You fade him.
Yeah, fade him too, for sure.
God bless you. There's always 2.
It's always 2. It's always 2 sneezes with me. My apologies, guys. We'll get to the rest of these really quick. Charlie Hicks, should I pick up Cameron Brate? Oh no, wait, we already got that one.
Don't spam us, Charlie Hicks. I'm just kidding. Love you.
Victor J's, everyone has a my guy before season starts. Don't beat yourself up, Tate. We appreciate that, J's. Revise saying, who wins this trade? Kamara and Boyd for McCaffrey and Godwin.
Ooh, that's a big boy trade. I'm going Kamara and Boyd.
I agree. Like we said, we don't know what McCaffrey's going to look like rest of the season with that high ankle sprain coming back from it. When he does come back, I want to do a win now scenario, and I feel like Kamara and Boyd is the stronger half of that. User saying, I have trust issues with Amari after 4 points last week. Where's the deal there? I agree. That was brutal, and I don't know it's better days ahead.
There's so many options there in Dallas right now, and the snap count's been kind of weird for Amari Cooper, and now you replace Dak with Dalton. There is some uncertainty with him, so I don't blame you for feeling a little about him.
Definitely. Heisenberg 2112. Did I do well? Before the ESPN updated with the Gordon news, I traded him and Mecole Hardman away for Aaron Rodgers and Robbie Anderson. I have Carson, CMC, Harris, and Henderson, and Tyreek. I think he did good.
You sneaky, sneaky bastard, you. Getting somebody before the app updates, nice.
Yeah.
And Heisenberg. I that's a win.
I think that's a win. Absolutely. I agree. Matt Wooden saying Tater, cheers from Tampa, half point PPR, start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, or start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, Hilton, McKinnon, and Lindsey.
So you're asking me for approval on this because I don't see a place where I have to choose someone to sit. I honestly, man, go find somebody other than McKinnon. I would try to find somebody on the waiver wire that has a little bit more upside than McKinnon. Dude, he only saw less than 5 touches last week. No.
Yeah, not good.
By the way, Woody, love you, dude. Oh, my dude.
Definitely love Lindsey the most out of those 3 as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then Heisenberg wanted to say he lost Dak, so that was why he made that trade for Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
That's a fantastic move.
Yeah,
good job on
you
that.
won. Good job.
You definitely won that. Jesse Snyder saying James Robinson trade for Fuller and Hollywood. Who wins half point PPR redraft?
It's hard because Robinson, I get it. It's tough to feel good about Robinson because he's a Jacksonville Jaguars running back that, probably will be just the guy. But Will Fuller and Hollywood are both vertical threats for the most part that have both been dinged up quite a bit, where James Robinson through the first, 5 weeks of the season has been consistent. But the value's there. Yeah, you won the trade, but I just don't know why I don't feel great about it.
No, I get it. It feels like you're missing out, but I side with the Fuller Hollywood side. I think that's the better option there. And then let me see. Matt Wooden wanted to clarify. He said to pick 2 of the 3 back on that question. So I'll pull that back up. Hilton, McKinnon, or Lindsey. I'm going to go Hilton and Lindsey of those.
Hilton and Lindsey. Yeah, just fade McKinnon. Yep.
Absolutely. And he says he will see us tomorrow. Thanks, Charlie. We appreciate that. Let's see. Charlie wants to say, is it safe to pick up Jamal Williams in case Aaron Jones goes down? I think it depends on the depth of your bench, but I think that he is a safe stash. It just, you don't want to store players unnecessarily when you know you're not going to start them week to week. It just depends.
Hell no, actually. I mean, that's a perfect opportunity to get AJ Dillon involved. So
absolutely.
Do I even feel confident that he's the right handcuff? If I were putting my money down, yes, but he's not Alexander Madison.
No.
That's going to be more so committee than that's an excuse to get AJ Dillon involved if Aaron Jones gets in.
It's not apples and oranges. It's like apples and lamps. So just very different.
I love lamp.
Love lamp. We'll get to 1 more of these and then we got to sign off, guys. We really appreciate you jumping in with all of these questions. We'll get to this one from Aiden Lynn. Did I win or lose this trade? Half point PPR. Traded away Amari Cooper, David Johnson, DJ Chark, Justin Jackson. Big trade. Wow. Received Josh Allen, Kelly Galladay, Miles Sanders, and J.K. Dobbins.
So the first thing I would ask is this just PPR or not PPR, but redraft or dynasty?
Yeah.
That's what I would ask. Because that changes things quite a bit. But in a vacuum, if it's redraft, you received Josh Allen, Kenny Galladay, and Miles Sanders. Yeah, you didn't lose that trade.
Yeah, I think I think you won that trade. I think that it's a pretty even trade, and I agree with Tate. The scale goes back and forth a bit heavier when you're looking at dynasty versus redraft, but I think this is a great redraft trade as well. I love seeing big trades like this. I don't feel like you see those very often where they've got so many moving parts. But
a lot of folks don't have the guts, the fortitude to be able to make trades like that. That's
redraft.
Redraft. So
redraft.
Yeah, dude. Josh Allen is going to be a top 5 quarterback this year. Just you've seen it. We've seen it. He's going to do his thing.
Yeah.
DJ Chark nicked up. Amari Cooper just lost Dak Prescott. David Johnson, he sell high on the week that he had against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who can't stop anybody running the football. And Justin Jackson, Austin Eckler's coming back. Dude, you won. Good job.
Great job. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe and like. We really, really appreciate it. And again, the entire crew will be together tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern, to answer all of your start-sit questions, looking at the inactives together as well. really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you want to follow Derek, you can follow him at dtater4 on all forms of social media. You can find me on Twitter at Samantha R. Holt and on Instagram at Sam_awesome. Any final words, Tate, to sign us off?
Well, if you want to go ahead and join me here in just a couple of moments here on the YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe. Click the little bell so you get notifications whenever we drop a new video or go live, because I'm going to be going live to talk about some Monkey Knife Fight picks on DFS. You're going to have the link in the comments, but if you are a prop bet aficionado or someone that like has a good feel for whether somebody's going to go more or less on a specific stat, you really should check out our Monkey Knife Fight videos. I mean, I've won quite a bit of money on it. Like, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I think it's a lot of fun to be able to test your knowledge. It's almost like, think about like Mortal Kombat, test your might. Like, test your knowledge of how good of a fantasy football player you are by actually trying to go ahead and project exactly what these players are going to do on a week-to-week basis. So I'm going to be dropping a video here or two by myself. I'm going solo on Monkey Knife Fight and here on the Fantasy Focus channel. So subscribe and join me in the comments, and we'll go ahead and make some money together.
Sounds good. Have a great weekend, guys, and we will talk to you tomorrow morning. Stick around for more of those Monkey Knife Fight prop bets.